Taiwan's election frontrunner vows to keep peace with Beijing. President Santiago Peña says Paraguay and Taiwan are not just allies, but also brothers. China finance giants missed payments alarm regulators and markets. China cuts key rates as weak July data darkens economic outlook. JPMorgan team warns of vicious cycle sparked by China trust woes. China's gold prices rising higher than rest of the world. Russia's emergency rate hike fails to lift ruble after crash. New Zealand finally lifts all COVID-19 restrictions.
Hello, I'm Wade Lee. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It is Wednesday, August 16th, and here are your top stories. Taiwanese Vice President Lai Ching-te is seeking to reassure voters and the international community that he's a steady set of hands as he campaigns to become the democratic nation's next leader. Speaking at an interview with Bloomberg Businessweek editor Joel Weber, Lai said Taiwan would love to see China enjoy democracy and freedom. Lai also said that Taiwan is open to talks on the precondition of parity and dignity, and that Taiwan is willing to cooperate with China to advance peace and prosperity.
Lai told the pair he would continue to work to strengthen the friendship between Paraguay and Taiwan.
Lai also said that until China renounces the use of force against Taiwan, the country must strengthen its military capacity and stand shoulder to shoulder with democracies to effectively deter the threats from China and secure stability in the Indo-Pacific region. According to Lai, because of China's desire to annex Taiwan, the country must show its determination to defend itself and to secure regional stability.
President Santiago Peña said Paraguay and Taiwan are not just allies, but also brothers, when he was sworn in as the South American country's new president on Tuesday. Peña said, "We will build alliances and cooperations with a geostrategic vision, seeking horizontal agreements." He noted that the country's relationship with Taiwan is an example of this, and of Paraguay's friendliness and cooperative spirit with nations for which we have deep affections and with whom we feel not only as allies, but also like brothers.
Peña took the presidential oath outside the government palace in the capital of Asunción in a ceremony attended by several regional leaders and Taiwan's Vice President Lai Ching-te. Spain's King Felipe VI attended the inauguration ceremony, as did presidents from the region, including Luis Inácio Lula da Silva of Brazil, Alberto Fernandez of Argentina, and Gabriel Boric of Chile. Peña said, "Success is making sure all Paraguayans are better off, and that the world becomes witness to the resurgence of a giant."
Bloomberg reported that one of China's largest private wealth managers, Zhongzhi Enterprise Group Co., a secretive financial conglomerate that managed about 1 trillion yuan, has triggered fresh anxiety about the health of the country's shadow banking industry after several of its corporate clients disclosed overdue payments on multiple high-yield investment products by a trust unit. According to people familiar with the matter, China's banking regulators have set up a task force to examine risks at Zhongzhi.
Zhongzi's trust unit bought stakes in real estate projects last year, betting on a market rebound that has so far failed to materialize. According to data provider Use Trust, a total of 106 trust products worth 44 billion yuan defaulted this year through July 31st. 3 firms said late Friday that they failed to receive payments on products issued by companies linked to Zhongzi, including Zhongrong International Trust. Use Trust data showed that Zhongrong Trust alone has 270 products totaling 39.5 billion yuan that are due this year.
China's central bank unexpectedly cut key policy rates for the second time in 3 months on Tuesday, in a fresh sign that the authorities are ramping up monetary easing efforts to boost a sputtering economic recovery. The People's Bank of China said it lowered the rates on 401 billion yuan worth of 1-year medium-term lending facility loans to some financial institute by 15 basis points to 2.5% from 2.65% previously.
China's central bank has cut its benchmark interest rate for the second time this year.
The MLF rate serves as a guide to the LPR, and markets mostly use the medium-term policy rate as a precursor to any changes to the lending benchmarks. The monthly fixing of the LPR is due next Monday. The central bank said it also injected 204 billion yuan through 7-day reverse repos while cutting borrowing costs by 10 basis points to 1.80% from 1.90% previously. The PBOC lowered key policy rates in June to prop up the broad economy.
Bloomberg reported that JPMorgan Chase & Co. analysts suggest missed payments on multiple high-yield investment products by a major Chinese shadow lender may trigger a vicious cycle for property developers financing and more delinquency for trust products. The U.S. bank's analysts, including Catherine Lai, wrote in a report Monday after a unit of Zhongzhi Enterprise Group Co. failed to deliver on-time payment for multiple products. About 2.8 trillion yuan may see rising default risks.
That the country's appreciating currency over the previous decade was slowing business down.
JPMorgan estimated up to 80% of local government financing vehicles may not be able to repay their debt principals. The analysts wrote, "The probability of banks bailing out trust investors is low. In our view, this follows that rising concern of developer defaults weakens investment sentiment and, as a result, trust companies may not be able or willing to roll over existing real estate-related products. Risks are also on the rise for banks as they could be asked to offer support for some housing projects amid the industry's cash crunch."
China's gold price is rising against levels in London. According to Bloomberg, calculations based on exchange data, the Shanghai spot price was more than $40 an ounce higher than that in London on August 14th. That's the biggest premium in more than 5 months, with the gap steadily widening from late June, even as consumer demands in China remain sluggish. According to traders and importers, authorities moving to limit gold imports appear to be a major driver behind the growing gap.
China, total demand was very strong, despite this quarter traditionally being quiet.
The World Gold Council said in a report last week the swing to a premium is being driven by tighter supply in China. The country's imports of non-monetary gold fell 35% in June from the previous month to the lowest level since January. People familiar with the matter said while some bullion is still making its way to China, the volume of orders is weak. Chinese authorities may potentially stymie gold trade, while lending some support to the yuan, by squeezing import quotas.
Russia's central bank raised interest rates sharply and said another increase is possible, but fell short of reversing declines in the ruble amid one of the steepest depreciation in emerging markets. Policymakers lifted their benchmark to 12% from 8.5%, the second straight increase and the sharpest since the immediate aftermath of Russia's invasion of Ukraine almost 18 months ago. The emergency meeting was called after the ruble briefly broke through 100 to the dollar for the first time since March last year.
Russia became the most sanctioned nation on earth.
The ruble appreciated after the rate announcement before reversing gains. It traded down 1.1% at 98.79 to the dollar as of 2:40 p.m. in Moscow. The currency is still among the 3 worst performers in developing economies this year with a loss of about 25%. The precipitous decline in the Russian currency has thrust the central bank onto center stage. But even with rates now at their highest in over a year, the currency market remains unimpressed as capital seeps out.
On Monday, New Zealand removed the last of its remaining COVID-19 restrictions, marking the end of a government response to the pandemic that was watched closely around the world. The country's Prime Minister, Chris Hipkins, said the requirement to wear masks in hospitals and other healthcare facilities would end at midnight, as would the requirement for people who caught the virus to isolate themselves for 7 days. The announcement comes 2 months before a general election.
New Zealand has ditched its last remaining COVID-19 restrictions.
Hipkins said that during the height of the pandemic he had longed for the day he could end all restrictions, but now it felt anticlimactic. He added, "While there were no doubt fractures in our collective sense of unity, I believe that New Zealanders can be enormously proud of what we achieved together." According to Hipkins, about 3,250 New Zealanders from a population of 5 million had died with COVID-19 as a primary or secondary cause, which is about 1/5 of the mortality rate in the United States.
Now let's delve into the news of Russia's emergency rate hikes failing to lift ruble. Number 1, reverse. 颠倒，彻底转变，是完全相反。The government has failed to reverse the economic decline. Number 2, steep. 突然的，急剧的，大起大落的。Another steep temperature rise is on the horizon, following the warmest decade since records began, scientists have warned. Number 3, benchmark. 基准. Tests at the age of 7 provides a benchmark against which the children's progress at school can be measured. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comment section. The correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's all for today's Funday news. Be sure to tune into Funday from Monday to Friday and click the link below now to join Funday for free. I'm Wei Li, your host. I'll see you next time.